and a very warm welcome back to this, our latest episode in the Sandship Crafting Factory saga. Guys, we've had a lot of requests for you to share our current production setup like we've done a little bit of in the past, so we will gladly abide, and today we'll be sharing our current iron production setup. This particular setup produces each type of iron resource. That includes the iron plate, the iron rod, the iron wire and the iron bolt. We're not going to be focusing on the iron ore because that's simple enough to produce. So let's dive straight in. Right, so we currently use this production method within a level 5 micro factory, and we're going to talk you through step by step exactly how to make it. So if you want to follow along, please do. We're going to be building this in the sandbox so we can just simply export it into our other buildings as and when necessary. So let's get stuck in. So the first things we're going to place down are our synthesizers, and as we said, this all fits in to a level 5 12 by 12 micro factory. It's designed to be compact. It's designed to produce as much output as it can within the available space. So now we've got our synthesizers in place, the next thing we're going to do is place our splitters. And once we've got those in place, we're then going to place our heaters down. The reason we place the heaters down after the splitters is you get a bit more efficiency and ultimately more output than if you did the heaters first and then split. So that's why we've gone with this method. Now this very first row on the left is going to be focused on producing plates. So we're going to finish off the plate construction here with 2 pressers and 2 exporters. Next we're going to be focusing on the iron rods. So again, to create iron rods we're going to need 2 presses, and because of the extended time it takes for them to cool down, we're going to need to put a bit of distance between that and the cutters, and then we can finish those off as well. Quick check to make sure we're producing. Yep, so we've got 5 plates a second and 10 iron rods a second at the moment, which is pretty good going. Now this third row is going to be wires. So what we're going to do is we're going to split this down into 4 rows instead of 2 to try and increase the absolute output. Now we've already heated our iron ore, so then we need to press, and it will be slightly cooler having travelled further distance, so we don't need to put as much belt between that and the cutter to get them to cool down. So once they've been turned into iron rods, we then need to heat them again. Place our extruders down, and then finally export those wires. And there we go, we can see we've got 4.45 wires per second, which is great. Now onto the 4th row. Now this one is going to be where we produce our iron bolts. So again, we're going to split these down into 4 rows. Exactly the same process. A lot of similarity along these lines to keep it nice and simple. And the only thing different about this is it's going to have shapers instead of extruders. And that will allow us to produce those iron bolts. Make sure you select your recipes, otherwise nothing will be produced. Quick check to make sure that works, and as you can see we're making 6.67 iron bolts, which is pretty good going from just 4 different lanes. Now we've got our basic rows in now, we've also got a little bit of space left in this micro factory, so what we're going to do is add our 5th and final synthesizer. Now we've not got quite enough room to split this before heating it, so what we're going to do is just heat it and have a single lane for now, make it into the plates. And this could be whatever you want. We're going to go with wires, but if you fancy that you might need some additional plates or rods, then feel free to do that. We're just going to finish this off with some wires because that is currently the lowest output. And we're also going to put some plates on the end here to increase both of those. We can see here the output has jumped with those 2 additional lanes. Now again, we've got a tiny amount of space left at the top of the factory here, so we're going to just try and squeeze as much output as we can out of this. So in order to get that a little bit more, I'm going to put a grabber here, put it straight into the heater, into the press, and then export those plates. Might only be a little bit, but it still adds that all important output. I'm going to do exactly the same on this side with these two and export those plates as well. And that's going to jump it up all the way to 7.69. So from this one tiny 12 by 12 square, we're producing a really good amount of all these iron items, and this is going to help massively when you come to need to do your quests and your story missions, or even any sort of contract that requires all these. You're going to be able to produce loads of them really quickly, so you're never going to be in need. As we come to make this into a blueprint, just look at the cost of this, guys. It's really cheap, hardly any materials required to build all these devices. So it's a really good strategy for new players that don't have many different devices unlocked, and there's not a lot of complex operations. It's all the standard base stuff. So we're just going to save this now and export it into our factory to make sure it works. And as you can see, the output is exactly the same as stated, and we can just start to see all that transit filling up nicely with all these key materials under one single factory roof. It's going to save you a lot of time. You won't need to rearrange anything. You can just turn it, switch it on and off, and it also doesn't consume that much substance as well, so you can have this running all the time if you need. We hope this has given you a bit of an insight into how we set up our operations on Sandship. If you do have any questions or comments, please let us know as usual. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.